I'm going to do a good video today on dealing with naysayers, okay? And what's really going on there, all right? And we all have them in our lives, and sometimes we have been that person. I can say, yeah, I have. And, when you get into a negative space in your head, you can affect other people in a negative way that is not good for them, and they don't need that in their lives, and you don't need to hear that in yours, right? So, how do you deal with this? Well, I'll tell you a short story. When I was in the legal field for quite a while, I would go visit my parents. When I moved to Florida, my parents were living on the west coast of Florida, and halfway down, it'd be about 4 hours from where I live, because Florida is a big state. And so we would, about every 6 weeks, every month and a half, we'd go drive down to their place, stay over for a night, sometimes a whole weekend, with our dogs, and we'd get food, we'd bring in food, like takeout food from an Italian restaurant and all that. So we'd be sitting around eating, and I would talk about something, and the words that I would use, a couple words, my father very familiar with growing up, and we would always have discussions that were pretty, I don't know, we'd talk about politics and things, and we'd get angry at each other and all that. But he would if I used a word that was more complicated than our normal family language, he would just go like this, and he was doing that. And I said, why are you doing that? And he said, why are you talking in like using those words? Nobody understands what you're saying. When I went into the legal field, what happens is you start to understand that language. You start to hear a new language, number one, and the way people speak in the legal field, the way the attorneys speak to each other, on the phone, in the courtroom, within the law firm with each other, is a certain way, using legalese. And so you start to pick it up, and before you know it, it's incorporated in your language, and you're bringing it to your house, you're bringing it to, and it was never to show off. It's just that you are communicating in a way with your attorneys that's different, and you cannot help it, but it comes into communicating with your family, and you might have to change it up. But I told my dad what was happening, so because he was feeling that I was showing off, or I was trying to make him feel inadequate. And he always felt inadequate, his whole life, because he didn't graduate high school, and neither did my mother. But they made good lives for themselves, and became career people without a high school education, because you could back then, when they went into their work world in the 50s, early 50s. So I explained to him that I wasn't doing that on purpose. I'm in that world, and it's hard to just go, and I don't mean dumb it down. It's not dumbing your language down. It's just communicating in a way that people understand. Is very, a client comes in and you speak in total legalese. There's a commercial that's on for a mortgage company, and you'll see a couple come in, and the mortgage broker is speaking in this mortgage language that they use. Certainly don't want to do that, but yeah, I was doing that inadvertently, not on purpose, with my dad. So he wasn't trying to be, critical. It was just that he felt I was becoming that kind of person, and I wasn't. It's just you're immersed in that world. When you become immersed in that world and you are seeking after something, you're looking at the paralegal field, or you're newly into it, and you do have, say, that title of paralegal at the law firm, or you're seeking after it. Doesn't matter if you got it now or you're seeking. Some friends or family may not like it. And that comes from that type of, like, the mindset my dad was having. And when I was growing up, that My future was to only get married and have kids. And I did that. But I also had other gifts to use, and that was in the law field and running businesses like I do now, and also running 2 brick and mortar businesses that I did in the past. And so that was those are the giftings. That's part of the giftings. What are your giftings? I want you to really think about that. What have people said they see in you that's positive? If you've never been told a positive thing about yourself, now's the time to ask people who are close to you that, are you seeing that I'm good at something that you see? Like, really, because if you're not seeing it, start to ask other people. I could see a friend of mine, I could see her giftings. Easy. Boom. I could see several of them. She could not see any of them. And I was floored by that. But that's how it is sometimes, is still until we start to think about it. So I want you to think about that this week. And what are the things that you are good at? When you're looking at getting in this field, you know what this means. It's that you have to have the foundation skills of office skills. If you don't have that, then you can change that. You can land an office job somewhere and you can get those skills. Make sure that you have Microsoft Word. The naysayers won't want to see you excel. They won't want to see you go forward because they have insecurities. And one of the best ways to combat that is to look at them and say, well, this is just something I want to go after because it's a dream of mine, right? It's a dream of mine. I'm passionate about it, and I really want to do this. Purposes in life. I was asking you that. I've asked you that in other videos. Ask them that question. Well, and if it's like a friend or a family member, what are your dreams and aspirations? Like, what are you looking at for your life? Like, what are your gifts? And that may floor them. Now you're turning the topic around to them instead of being focused on you. So you can change that, like, so that they made in church years and years ago. And I started to think, what are my gifts? I didn't know I had any gifts. I never even gave it a thought, and there was a time where I didn't feel valuable and I didn't have people around me thinking I was valuable. It was not asking me how'd my day go, and what do I want to do for the future? Seriously. So I had to do that for myself and ask myself those questions. I want you to do naysayers and then ask them this question. Make this request. When you have family members doing this, or a dear friend, and they're not supporting you, ask them for their support. I need your support as I go forward. Oh, hi there. Sorry, the comments don't stay up, unfortunately. They come, and for 2 seconds, and they go away. And so tell me, are you... Okay. Well, what I recommend is, because unfortunately, it doesn't give you the everyday practical side of working as a paralegal. What I would say to do is, step 1, get my book Legal. Join us at the end of May in my class, because that's why I put that course up there. Well, I hope you're encouraged. I'm glad. I'm sorry you're going through what you're going through, hon. I really am. It's a terrible thing to go through, but you're going to make it, and you are, focused. But for your sake, and this is the reason I developed the course, that I know it's not till the end of May, but even if you land a job before that, take my class, because I will give you the practical side from a paralegal veteran. Yeah, you're welcome. You're going to do well. You're going to do well. And when, even if people tell us that we won't do well, we have to focus. We have to We might feel down for a day or a week, right? And then what we have to do in our heads, I've been through a personal tragedy. Well, thank you. I hope you do, because I know you're going to learn a lot that adds to what you're learning now. And it's really imperative, I believe. That's why I created it, because I feel, as I talk about in my videos, hun, I feel so passionate about making sure that you guys are equipped for this, okay? And that you don't not do it and maybe quit the job because you feel inadequate. That has been told to me many times. So that's why the course came about. But end of May, you can get on the wait list by going to my website. It's easy to get to. Paralegal Inner Circle Class Info. And you click on that and you can scroll down. It'll say in blue, click here, and it's a long sentence. Click on that, and don't kill people with emails. I don't inundate people with email because I don't like that. And but I'll send regular emails out that give you additional info, training class. So yeah. So I'll always say it on the YouTube videos too, because I give people a heads up. I only launched this class 2 to 3 times. Sometimes it doesn't, but it's to have a group together in our private Facebook group that I have just for that class. And so there's tons of downloads within the class, and there are videos to watch when you have time. I don't do those live, but you have time to watch them, digest them, take notes, and all of that. So great videos in there, several of them on interviewing and doing the cover letter. Very important, plus legal knowledge that I give you, okay? So let's pretend that, excuse me a minute, let's pretend that somebody said something negative 5 minutes ago. You're going to try to get that out of your head as much as possible. Sometimes it's not possible, speaking from experience, but you want in your head, just think about you walking in that door the first day of your job. You want to recommit yourself to what you're going after. Don't let anybody stop you. Don't let anybody stop you. When I was called up and asked to do a live webinar with a webinar group for paralegals, somebody, in my family said, "What makes you think you can do that?" Well, my question back to that person was, "What makes you think that I can't?" And they had no answer. So what that was, let me just plug it because the battery's going. What that was about was jealousy. So understand that the naysayers are struggling inside. That's where that spews out of them, okay? First thing, recommit to the vision that you have that's been put in your mind. Now, I don't want you to think you're going to be making $50,000 when you start. Don't think that way. Think about building something. And you've got to, no job that you start at, unless you're a doctor or a lawyer somewhere, or a professional that went to college and that's the norm for them, okay? This takes a little bit of building and getting some more understanding of the everyday workflow, and get that knowledge, and you'll be adding to that knowledge as you go and on your own. So you become the research guru. You become the person who can find answers to things. Take that to heart, okay? Second, try to not, and this is so difficult, try to not take their comments personally. That was said to me about what makes you think you can do that. It just that empowered me. So everything that you're doing, yes, there'll be some things you fall down on. You will make mistakes. Things won't go, you won't reach perfection ever. So don't think you're going to reach perfection, okay? And that will take a lot of burden off you, all right? That you are valuable, you are worthy, You have gifts? Who says that? He does. The Lord. Yes, he does indeed. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Who says that? DNA. You're pretty darn special, so don't forget it. For the people, as I've said, that are naysayers, explain to them briefly why you're going after this. Then ask them about their dreams and aspirations. And then, especially if it's an older family member, I would say, I really need your support. If they say no, hey, so be it, you got to walk away. But, you can't really do much about that, right? Be selective about who you hang with. Be very fussy about that, okay? That are going to lift you up. That means, you can be here on this channel. You're going to get lifted up over there. I do the same, mostly the same videos there because people like to hang out in one place or the other, not both usually. Again, the group that we will have with our class is very private, exclusive. It's just for people who buy the course, and then we're in there together. And I'm getting ready next week to do a live video in there. I do 2 a month live videos with additional training over and above what's in the course, because I want to give you the most knowledge and the most oomph to get you in that career as possible. Okay, from a paralegal veteran of 29 years. So take to heart what I said and turn it around. Learn how to turn those conversations around. And you'll see it with lawyers. Lawyers sometimes, many times, will not answer a question posed to them. They'll ask a question back. So you don't even have to ask that. That's what I did with the person who was saying to me, what makes you think you can do that? And I said, what makes you think I can't? See, I didn't answer the question. So yeah, I felt down about that afterwards, but I didn't have time to feel too down because I had a group of people waiting for me to do this in about a week, to put on this live webinar. And I was going live for the first time in my life at that point. And I was, yes, inside freaking out, but I felt that was my purpose, that I knew a lot about the subject and I was supposed to be doing that to help a group of paralegals get better at what they do in a specific field. So that is it for today. Let me know in the comments below if this was helpful to you. And what I'd like to know is, well, yesterday's video, if you haven't commented on that one, that you are uniquely gifted, I'd love for you to come, like technical skills that are good, that, computer skills, Microsoft Words, and that type of thing. But what are you good at that you're bringing to the paralegal field? Nobody's going to get snarky in here. If they do, they're gone. Okay? History. So I don't put up with that stuff on this channel or anywhere. So feel free to say what you think you're good at, because you're not going to get off. I'd love to hear, or any other questions that you have. And if you asked me questions that I haven't answered, I'm percolating on those about specific types of paralegals. So don't think I forgot, because I don't forget. I'm not sure I'm going to do a video on those, though, at this point. I'm just not sure yet, so hang in there. All right, so have a great day, everybody. And what is it today? Tuesday. And I will see you in tomorrow's videos. Bye. Or video. Bye.